and you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. Stay tuned for a short commercial break. Hey everybody, it's the second season and we're here with Hannah Withiam of Just Women's Sports, where they are 100% women's sports, 100% of the time. I like that. That's awesome for women, okay? Hannah, welcome to a WNBA State of Mind where we mainly discuss basketball, but we love other sports.
I'm so happy to be here.
We have an all-star cast of ballers today, which always makes for a great show. Hannah, talk a little bit about yourself. You know, I'm always talking to you. Oh, and by the way, she's, editor and is always making my story look fantastic.
Thanks for, you make it easy, Goody. So thanks for the nice shout out there.
Yeah, talk a little bit about yourself, and I really want to know how Haley Rosen, founder of JWS, came up with this whole concept, because that just resonates with me. 100% women's sports, 100% of the time.
Yeah, let me start with that, because when I first found out about the company late last year, I had the same thought you did, and I loved the concept. Haley played soccer at Stanford University and then played professionally for a little bit. And because of injuries, had to retire early. So got into a different career and was trying to follow her friends who were still playing professional soccer and was having a really hard time finding anything about them. She couldn't really read about them. She wasn't seeing anything on social media. So she thought, this is clearly a problem. Media coverage of women's sports is very low. It's only 4% of sports media coverage on the whole. So she realized this was an untapped market that she wanted to pursue. And the idea is that so many sports outlets that have been founded over time, almost all of them, of the main ones, have been primarily focused on men's sports. And if they cover women's sports, it's a little bit of an afterthought. So why not flip that on its head and do 100% women's sports coverage, because it's been so undercovered.
Right there, just like Steph Curry, underrated. Always under the radar. And if we want coverage and we want things to be better, we got to be the change that we want to see in the world. And you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl Hannah Withiam, Just Women's Sports, on here. She just came on. We're chopping it up about all things women's sports 100% of the time. And just to elaborate a little bit on that, I just love how you came up with that Stanford. You mentioned the founder Haley is from Stanford. I had some fantastic Stanford teammates: Jennifer Azzi, Molly Goodenbauer, Kate Starberg, Christy Hedgeman. Fantastic programs over there, all the way to golf.
Great golf team, yeah. I do it all.
Oh, we got that right. Badminton, oh yeah, we got that right.
Right.
We got that. Locking down everything, producing serious minds and great athletes behind the scene. I love them. How long has Just Women's Sports been around?
It's been around since early 2020. It actually, once I got off the ground, was right as the pandemic was hitting. So that was of course, very difficult for Haley, a first-time founder, to get this off the ground right when sports were shutting down. So they did a great job of sticking with coverage as best they could. They launched a podcast hosted by national soccer team player Kelly O'Hara, and used this as an opportunity to try to tell the stories of women's athletes while they had time to talk about it. So kept it afloat through 2020, and it kept growing, and I joined this past April, and we've been growing pretty exponentially. So it's been cool to see.
Yeah. I tell you, I'm glad that I look at it now, because before it was like, oh, who's this? Oh, who's this? You know, oh, who's this? You know, it kept popping up in my feed. I'm like, all right, well, you know, they're doing their thing over there. And the thing about it is we got to, you know, run it back and rewind and talk about how the pandemic in a lot of ways has been a blessing for a lot of people. And, you know, my podcast came out of this, and I said, if I'm going to be at home and I got to do this, then I'm going to make sure that I come out of this COVID thing on the other side better than when I went into it. Mm-hmm. I developed the podcast, and I just kept going and just putting in the work, you know? And then I get the opportunity to have fantastic interviews with people of your stature. And just, you know, let people know and see and feel and experience what it is that we're putting out there, because we're putting some good content out there. Are you guys on the East Coast, West Coast, or, you know, you just have contributors everywhere? What's that like? What's your home base?
So we are split between East and West Coast mainly. So Haley, our founder, is in LA, and we have a couple others on the West Coast, but the majority of us are on the East Coast. So we make it work in terms of timing of meetings and things like that. But yeah, since I oversee the website, I work with a number of contributing writers who are across the country. It helps to have them in different areas where if someone lives in Texas, they could go to a college basketball game or a Dallas Wings game there. So it's helpful to have people in different states.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? It's just the power of a woman, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, has and everything like that. And the beauty about what it is that you're doing is you get to meet the whole crew. You get to meet everybody, and you get to work with everybody and help everyone bring out the best of themselves and their talent.
Exactly.
To you, that's absolutely awesome. And I wanted to ask you this leads to the next question. Everyone, no matter who it is, you got your own business, and even if you don't have a business, has some message that they want to convey. What message is Just Women's Sports trying to convey or get the followers to see, understand, and know?
I think what we say all the time at Just Women's Sports is it's hype, not guilt when it comes to women's sports. A lot of the times you'll see people say on Twitter, I guess they'll just try to guilt trip people or make it seem like charity that they need to follow women's sports. You should follow women's sports because they need the followers. Well, we're saying women's sports should be followed because they're awesome. And they should be appreciated for the sports, just like men's sports are. So I think that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to convey that through our coverage, whether it's on the website, podcasts, or social media. And yeah, so far we've seen that we're reaching broader audiences, and it's been growing, so it's working.
Yeah, it definitely is growing. And I was like, wow. And I just kept scrolling. I thought it would stop, and I'm like, whoa. And it just kept going. I was like, wow, they really do have a lot of content. You guys keep people engaged. And that's the thing, the beauty of it. You guys have that content that you can keep somebody engaged for quite some time, because you have some good content, and you cover a wide range of sports. And that leads right to the next question. I see soccer, I see women's basketball, and I see LPGA. And then I today saw a little blurb that you put up there with girls football too. So what other sports does JWS cover right now? Take us through, if I'm on the website and I'm clicking, and I'm hitting the drop boxes, what sports are coming down?
Yeah, so I'd say primarily we're covering, soccer and basketball. Basketball being WNBA and college, just because they're both so popular. But yeah, since I got here in April, we've done a little bit more LPGA, we've done more tennis. We went pretty hard on covering the Olympics. So we had the Summer Olympics in August, and then we'll do the same in February for the Winter Olympics. And that's fun because you meet athletes who don't get much coverage year round. But that's the thing, is we'd like to keep that going. Like, people will talk about Simone Biles in July and August, but then what is she doing for the 4 years in between the Olympics? So that's an area where we'd like to get to, just to be that place that is providing coverage of these athletes and sports that only get it when they're on the big stage. So yeah, we're trying to tap into a little bit of everything.
Yeah, you are. Because not only are you covering sports, like out there on the fields and gyms and stuff like that, snapping pictures and talking to people, you guys also have a couple of podcasts. Elaborate on those.
Yeah, it's been growing. So our initial one I mentioned before is with Kelly O'Hara, and we just are about to wrap up season 4. So she talks to women's athletes across an array of sports about their stories, their upbringing, and basically how they've achieved the success they have. And then we have a couple of podcasts hosted by current athletes. So we have Tea with A&F with Asia Wilson and Nafisa Collier, and Snacks with Lynn Williams and Sam Ewis, who are on the U.S. women's national team. We have Off the Ball with a player on the Orlando Pride, Allie Riley, and hopefully have some more coming through the ranks here in the next year or two.
Yeah, absolutely. I was watching, seeing all this stuff, and like I said, you guys are doing well, and like I said, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse, dealing with COVID, but it really was about the mindset. And I heard a lot of people that have a lot of money, billionaires, talking about, this is the time. These are the days when people become millionaires and billionaires, during the hard times. Because you come up with something, you have an idea, you work it. Maybe that idea concept came out of the depression. So now you got all these people driving around these nice cars. Ford was over here doing his thing. So it's like, if you look at these hard times, there's a lot of things that are born at a tough time, which don't last always. And like I said, you're listening to a WNBA State of Mind. I got my girl, Hannah Withiam from Just Women's Sports over here. Today we're chopping it up. I appreciate you being on the show. Let people know how they can follow you, how they can follow you, how they can follow Just Women's Sports, to keep up with you guys on social media. Elaborate on that and take us out of this show.
Yeah. So we're on all social media accounts really right now. I'd say the ones where you can keep up with the day-to-day are really Twitter and Instagram. We try to make sure. I got a lot of feedback from people during the Olympics, for example, that they would wake up, because it was happening in Tokyo, so we had the time zone difference, and they wake up and catch up on everything they might have missed while they were sleeping on our Instagram account. So that's the energy we try to keep up through every women's sports season. So you can definitely expect that from Instagram and Twitter. And you can follow our podcasts on wherever you get your podcasts, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. And check out the website, justwomensports.com. We're updating it every day with the news you need in women's sports, as well as some original stories on athletes and teams and leagues that you might not know about. So check all those out.
Yes, definitely. I appreciate all of the knowledge, and you sitting here spending time with me, for the podcast. It's a great show. Come back anytime.
I love it. Thanks so much for having me, Goody. It was always great to talk to you.
All right, talk soon.
Awesome. I can stop recording now. I'll make sure I save this.